One way, don't Bàbá mi pàtàkì pàtàkì ẹṣẹ́ o. Mo dúpẹ́ fẹ́ràn o. Mo fẹsọ̀ dára fún ọ. Àwọn ti délé mi business. Àwọn ti Professor Mike. Professor Adede. Dr. Titus. Olórí àdúgbò. Bàbá tí gbogbo wa ní music department. Ẹ ṣá máa gbádùn ní sẹ́yìn bàbá. Durosinmi, àlọ́mọ tí mo bá rọdé. Ẹ ṣá máa gbádùn ní sẹ́yìn bàbá. Professor Muiz Durosinmi, bàbá mi. Ẹ máa gbádùn, ẹ máa dákọ̀ jọ̀kọ̀jọ̀. Ayọ̀ yìí tó ti dùn lẹ́yìn o. Kò ní bí bàjẹ́, agbára rẹ̀ lẹ́nu máa ní ọba nílé. Ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ aládùúgbò. Ọ̀túnba Kábíràdé. Ọ̀pẹ̀yẹ lónílé kọ̀kọ́. Professor Durosinmi. Onílé kọ̀kọ́ kọ̀dé. Muiz bàbá Olùmarè aládùúgbò. Ọ̀túnba Kábíràdé. Ọ̀pẹ̀yẹ lónílé kọ̀kọ́. Onílé kọ̀kọ́ kọ̀dé. Professor Dana Mota, Amẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ Dùmarè, ọba mímọ́, wọ́n mi fẹ́ wàhálà ayé mímọ́. Bàbá mi yọ mi, Amẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ Dùmarè, ọba mímọ́, wọ́n mi fẹ́ wàhálà ayé mímọ́. Professor Durosinmi, Amẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ Dùmarè, ọba mímọ́, wọ́n mi fẹ́ wàhálà ayé mímọ́. Professor Muiz, Amẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ Dùmarè, ọba mímọ́. Professor Muiz Durosinmi. Ọlọ́lá tí mo bá rò ní bàbá. Ẹ̀dàgbà alága pẹ́pẹ́ láyé. Ìgbàlá ọdún wa pẹ́pẹ́. Oye mo dúpẹ́ appreciation. Mo dúpẹ́ ọ̀lẹ́nu ọ̀rẹ́. Mo dúpẹ́ ọ̀lẹ́nu ọ̀rẹ́. you wanna go? Where you wanna go? Let me take you there. Give me all go. Anything I take your hold. I don't have to. Watch me keep my watch you there. I like your style. I like everything we do. We always smile. There's so what is always. I need your light on skin. Things like that.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. With that note of ladies and gentlemen from the best band in the whole world, I want to welcome us to today's August occasion. And I would like to first start by introducing some people. I would invite some people to join Professor Durosinmi on the high table. We want to say that this morning, the Vice Chancellor of the University will be joining us virtually. And I want to first introduce to us our Vice Chancellor, Professor Ile-Ife, who will be joining us virtually. Please let's put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor, a very wonderful person. The first person I'll be inviting to join Professor Durosinmi right in front here, who will eventually do the opening remarks and also introduce to us the celebrant of this day, is no other person than the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration of Obafemi Awolowo University, in person of Professor Yomi Daramola, a musician to the core. Please come forward, sir. I'm sure we'll all have noticed that the music today has been very mood congruent, and it's because we have someone like him in charge. Let's put hands together once more for him. Also joining him in front here would be my boss, the person of Professor Dr. Kolawale, the Provost of the College of Health Sciences. Please come forward very quickly, sir. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And then I would want to very quickly invite to come forward the Dean of Deans, my Dean, Professor Dayo Showande, to please come forward. He's the Dean of the Faculty of Clinical Sciences. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have so many people that would love to acknowledge their presence here, but we're going to do that when we get to the reception. But I must say that we have with us our Royal Father of the Day, in person of His Royal Majesty, Oba Onirudin Adishola Lawal Lamisa One Itini of Edena. Let's put our hands together for Kabiyesi. Kabiyesi. Thank you for being so much with us here. We recognize the presence of all the dignitaries that are here present, and then we will continue to recognize you as the program goes on. But very quickly, I want to hand over the microphone to the representative of the Vice Chancellor, who is physically present with us today, to give the opening remarks and also to do the introduction of our celebrant of this day. And that is no other person than Professor Yomi Daramola. Please let's put our hands together for him to give the opening remarks and also introduce to us the celebrant of this day. Please, if you want to clap, let's clap. I think it's still free. We are not paying. Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give thanks to Almighty Allah for giving us this day and for making the day a very beautiful one for all of us, and especially for the family of Professor and Mrs. Durosinmi, the celebrants today. I call him Baba 70. He's marking his birthday today and is giving his valedictory lecture. So we give thanks to Almighty Allah. A round of applause for Baba. On that note, like we have had before, the Vice Chancellor is unavoidably absent, so known as official assignment Abuja, and he has promised to join us anytime from 12 to give his address as the Vice Chancellor of this university. But he has asked me to stand in for him physically here because of the importance he attached to this very valedictory lecture. So on his behalf, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Ile-Ife, and on behalf of the management, I stand in here to welcome everybody to this great occasion and to this valedictory, which is very important. The title of the valedictory, as you have seen on the screen there, is very germane and important to the current situation, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. So, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I welcome you all. I declare this valedictory lecture ceremony open on his behalf. And I want to welcome our father, Professor Moise A. Durosinmi, a father of fathers, a lecturer of lecturers, a mentor by excellence. I want to invite him to come and deliver his valedictory lecture. A round of applause for him.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chancellor, our professor, represented by the BBC Academic, and thank you for coming for this lecture. Evolution of treatment for chronic Myelogenous leukemia in Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Chief Medical Director, the Registrar, the Bursar, College Provost, Deans of Faculties, represented by the Chairman Committee of Deans, Senate members, Chairperson, heads of departments, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to warmly welcome you to this valedictory lecture, being delivered today, Thursday, 31st March 2022. This lecture should have come up on Saturday, 2nd April, my 78th birthday, which falls on the first day of Ramadan, a period many of us cannot entertain guests in the daytime, hence the shift. So do accept my apologies and thank you for honoring the invitation. I chose to talk on evolution of treatment for chronic myelogenous leukemia, otherwise called CML, in Nigeria, based on my rather disappointing experiences managing hematological malignancies in a disadvantaged setting, and how chance do sometimes influence our decisions. I joined the services of the university, then the University of Ife, on Monday, 2nd June 1986, during the period of the implementation of the structural adjustment program in the country. Based on the several unpleasant experiences at that period, The title of a manuscript I was preparing, that is Cancer Management in Ife, from 1986 to 1991, has to be altered to Management of Cancer under Structural Adjustment Program. I recollect how most of our patients, including a 12-year-old girl, with CMA, who lived long enough to become a part 2 student in chemistry in this university, and who was just about to travel abroad for bone marrow transplantation, had to abort the trip because of the SAP-related sudden astronomical rise in the foreign exchange rate. Regrettably, we lost her in our 3rd year. In 1993, publication with Professor Julius Fabi of Botany Department on chromosomal aberrations in Nigerians with hematological malignancies gave Ife the opportunity to coordinate the first national study on chronic myeloid leukemia on interferon alpha trial. The study prepared us for the ongoing nationwide treatment of CML with the novel drug, Vivek, and other tyrosine kinase inhibitors, and hence the title of today's lecture, Evolution of Treatment for Chronic Myeloid Leukemia in Nigeria. Chronic myelogenous leukemia is the commonest of the leukemic myeloproliferative cancers and the first known malignancy to be associated with a unique acquired genetic disorder. A reciprocal translocation between chromosomes number 9 and 22, leading to generation of the diagnostic Philadelphia chromosome. The mutation transfers the ADL tyrosine kinase gene on chromosome number 9 to the breakpoint cluster region on chromosome 22 to generate the oncogenic BCR-ADL1 fission gene that induces malignant change and development of the leukemia. Hitherto, CML was an almost incurable cancer with the following notorious characteristics: 80% chance of dying in 2 years, 10% chance of dying within 6 months, 10% chance of living to 10 years. Nobody lived beyond 10 years, and there is no cure. Outside a successful stem cell transplantation, which is available to less than 45% of affected patients, there has been no reliable, potentially curative treatment until the arrival of this magic drug, Vivek or imatinib, and allied tyrosine kinase inhibitors, a group of highly expensive, lifelong targeted medication. Treatment modalities previously used in Nigeria included chemotherapy such as cyclophosphamide, busulfan, agosuria, and interferon alpha. The lecture will discuss briefly epidemiology of CML, core laboratory diagnosis, evolution of CML treatment in Nigeria, roles of imatinib treatment for CML. We will also talk on challenges of Vivek therapy in Nigeria with reference to adherence to therapy, pharmacokinetics studies, second, third generation tyrosine kinase inhibitors, pregnancy and Vivek under COVID-19 lockdown, and survival studies. Mr. Vice Chancellor and my dear guests, etiological factors for CML include exposure to radiation, smoking, obesity, and occupation, that exposure to benzene, and treatment with DNA topoisomerase inhibitors, such as etoposide. The global incidence for the leukemia is 1 to 2 per 100,000 of the population, with a slight male predominance. Age at presentation in the Western nation is around 60 years, compared to the median age of 30 to 40 years in the low and middle income countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America, Southern and Eastern Europe. CML is rare in children 18 years and below. The median age of the 1,550 cohort of Philadelphia chromosome positive CML Nigerians accessing the maternity in the country was only 38 years, with male-female ratio of 1.5 to 1. And very few of them, just 10%, were over 60 years and above, as previously reported by Professor Fleming in 1993. How do you make the diagnosis of this disease? In addition to the clinical features, an elevated mature granulocyte count, including basophilia and normal to raised platelet count, confirmatory diagnostics include positive Philadelphia chromosome due to translocation between chromosomes 9 and 22 from bone marrow karyotype, as earlier said, and or positive BCR ABL transcripts in blood of the patients, evaluated by molecular transcripts, including PCR and or fluorescent in situ hybridization phase. Periodic assessment of the PH chromosome and the BCR ABL transcripts are also used for monitoring disease response to treatment and confirmation of minimal residual disease. This figure shows the karyotype of a female patient with Philadelphia chromosome. You can see the arrow from chromosome 22 being transferred to the lower section of the one of chromosome number 9. That is the shorter arm, the shorter chromosome 22 is the Philadelphia chromosome. A number of substances, including chemicals and radiation, were used as palliative treatment for CML from about mid-19th century, with some disease amelioration, but never evidence of curability. Palliative agents used included arsenic trioxide from about 1865 and splenic irradiation from 1903. Standard chemotherapy, including busulfan and hydroxyurea, were introduced in 1953 and 1972 respectively. And autologous bone marrow transplantation started as a palliative care in 1978 and soon graduated to become an upfront curative therapy in 1982 with the introduction of HIV-compatible match-related or match-unrelated donor allogeneic marrow transplantation. Recombinant human alpha interferon was introduced in 1980s as a potential cure for CML, in particular for patients ineligible for marrow transplantation. The ultimate definitive therapy came at the end of the last century with the discovery of a small molecule, the STI 571 compound, by Dr. Brian Drucker a cancer research professor at the Oregon Health and Science University in USA, as shown in figure 2. This figure shows the beginning of CML therapy. You can see in that figure that before 1845, there was no therapy. Then started arsenic fire, splenic irradiation, busulfan, hydroxyurea, and by 1978, bone marrow transplantation, interferon alpha by the 80s, and from 1998, the beginning of what we are discussing today, imatinib therapy. Between 1986 and 1999, we managed 42 patients with CML, 27 males and 15 females, age 12 to 74, median 38 years. 5 were karyotype and confirmed positive for Philadelphia chromosome. 33, 7, and 2 presented in chronic phase, accelerated phase, and the untreatable blastic phase, respectively. Patients were treated with busulfan or cyclophosphamide only. Even then, therapy compliance was subnormal. Median survival for patients in chronic phase was only 31.7 months, shorter than the 43 months recorded for richer countries that were similarly treated. Only 5 of the 42 patients, of the 15 chronic phase patients, survived up to 60 months and above, compared to over 50% reported in the more advanced nations. The use of the combinant human interferon alpha and CML in Nigeria. The combinant human interferon alpha was introduced in the 80s as the second breakthrough for possible cure of the disease. Interferon had achieved complete cytogenetic response in about 20 to 27% of patients with chronic phase disease, and a 10-year survival of 78%. Improved survival was achieved with the addition of cytosine arabinocyte. From 1996 to 1998, Ife coordinated the only interferon trial on the efficacy and safety of the immunomodulator as a monotherapy in 17 consenting male and female patients, CML. Mean age, 34.5 plus or minus 10.6 years, presenting in early chronic phase. The drug was administered subcutaneously at a maintenance dose of 9 million international units daily for 12 months. Drug efficacy was evaluated by assessing both hematologic and cytogenetic responses. Tolerability by the incidence of adverse events, and safety by hematologic and biochemical indices. 6 patients, 54.4%, achieved complete hematologic remission, and 3 others underwent partial cytogenetic remission. Drug-related adverse events were seen in 70% of the patients, and severe depression was reported in 1 patient. Unfortunately, because of our poverty, this trial could not last longer than 12 months, because then the treatment for 1 year was as high as 1 million naira, which was big money then. Brevet and CML in Nigeria since 2003. Brevet is the first anti-cancer drug specifically targeting the active kinase inhibiting leukemia viral oncogene homolog 1 of the BCR-ABL chimeric gene. This tyrosine kinase inhibitor has the capability to induce hematologic remission, eradicate the BA positive cells, the BCR-ABL transcripts, and prolong survival while sparing the surrounding apparently normal cells. What we are saying here is that Gleevec is a specific drug, it's a targeted drug. Once you have identified the molecular basis of the cancer. So this drug was then designed to target the abnormal gene. That was what the previous therapies could not do, except bone marrow transplantation that was not available to a large majority of the patients. Clinical trials were conducted on STI 571 from 1988 on volunteers living with the cancer. The drug was granted accelerated approval by the USA FDA in 2001. The approved molecule is currently being marketed by Novartis Pharma as imatinib. Figure 3 shows the picture of 3 of the participants in the STI 571 trial of 1978. From the left, we have Geraldine, 79 years old, the longest survivor on CML since the onset of the imatinib trial. She has been living for CML, with CML since the past 25 years. So this is almost normal survivor. In the middle, we have Don Jensen, 83 years old, CML since 1997. In far right, we have Judy Oren, 73. She was diagnosed in 1995. Interestingly, all these 3 patients were initially on alpha interferon. So the moment Gleevec was discovered, they moved onto Gleevec, and that is why they are still surviving. Gleevec and CML in Nigeria. What are the goals of using this drug in our patients? These are to achieve complete hematologic remission within 1 to 3 months of starting imatinib therapy. Complete hematologic remission means restoration of their normal status to the levels we are currently on, myself and yourself. Achieve complete cytogenetic response, that is, the abnormal chromosome, Philadelphia chromosome, is 0%. Because if you are able to remove that, CML will disappear within 6 months of therapy. Major molecular response, that is the BCR-ABL chimeric gene, should be less than 0.1% by 12 months of therapy. If you are able to achieve this, you are likely to undergo deep molecular response, that is BCR-ABL less than 0.01%, and complete molecular remission, that is BCR-ABL less than 0.001, and higher rates of overall survival, event-free survival, and progression-free survival. Those 3 patients which I demonstrated earlier were all in this stage by now, and a number of Nigerian patients. On Monday, 13th May 2002, I received an invitation from Ms. Hida Ulihan, Axios Project manager to coordinate the Novartis and Mass Foundation's Innovative Label International Patient Assistance Program, GIPA, which was established to facilitate free supply of imatinib to patients in low to middle income countries, including Nigeria, who could not ordinarily afford lifelong therapy with such an expensive medication. Then 500,000 naira every month for the rest of my life, as shown in table 1. The invitation was on the recommendation of Professor Jayola Thomas Odunili of the Pathology and Laboratory Department, University of Texas at Houston, USA. What that table is showing, if you look at it, the cost of the medication is just too expensive. In USA, for example, 1 year treatment for imatinib is 92,000 naira. In Canada, 46,500 naira, just for 1 month. You can also see the cost of the second line drugs. But in those countries, they have facilities for the working health insurance. Unfortunately, in our country, since 2006, I think, the health insurance has not been working very well. That is the disaster healthcare delivery is facing in the country. That is why it is too expensive. People to treat ordinary malaria, if you have 3 children, and all of them fall sick of malaria, and you are a low-grade staff, it's a tragedy. Mass Foundation, the non-governmental organization behind GIPA, was founded in Argentina in 1996 by Mr. Pedro Jose Barola and his wife, as a service for people in resource-limited countries that could not cope with blood cancers that killed their only child, Maximiliano de Barola, October 1973 to January 1991. This boy came down with CML at age 14 years in 1987. That was long before the discovery of the imatinib. He could not get a compatible donor for the potentially curative allogeneic marrow transplantation. He was soon lost to autologous transplantation at the MD Anderson Cancer Center, Houston, in 1991 at age 17 years. His rest in peace. So when this dreamer got to Nigeria, Ife was lucky. He's grounded in our institution. The then hospital CMD, Professor D.O. Akmala, signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the donors. His immediate successor, Professor Soya Adejoyebe, led the delegation of the donors to the Minister of Health in 2006. That was Professor Elitayo Lambo, and the current CMD, Professor Victor Adetiloye, remains fully committed to the program success. Colleague consultant hematologists, resident hematologists, and the nursing officers in hematology daycare unit have been very wonderful with the care of the patients. The dedication of the program pharmacists and other pharmacists, in particular molecular laboratory staff, medical laboratory scientists, and the medical records are ever appreciated. Our first patient, a 42-year-old lady, was accessing liver at the Hammersmith Hospital, London, at a monthly cost of 2,500 pounds from November 2001 until August 2003, when she was referred by her consultant to be the foundation member of JIPA in Nigeria. 19 years on. The program is still on. The membership now stands at 1,550 as at December 31st, 2021. We appreciate it, the clients, for their donation of some utilities to the department, including solar panels, inverter batteries, gene expert machine for PCR monitoring of therapy, and 6 for use of patients attending outpatient clinics. What are the challenges of brevet therapy in our own country? Predominance of younger age population, because we said the median age is only 38 years. Imagine you being on a job every day from age 38 is not easy. Compared to 60 years in profession. Poor drug adherence among Nigerian patients, 47% against the expected 95% and above. And that is why many of our patients do not do well. Early development of resistance and intolerance to therapy, from peculiar unwholesome pharmacokinetic disposal of the drug from the tissues of some of their patients. Kinase domain mutations and resistant foreign kinase domain mutation. Single drug accessing center for a very large country like Nigeria, with a population of about 200 million and a land mass of 974,000 square kilometers. So accessing the medication from a single center is not easy. Adherence to therapy under COVID-19. Fear of possible fertility impairment. This is important because quite a number of our patients are educated, and the first thing patient will do when you give him a new drug is go through everything about the drug, scan through the computer, Google, and you will now have a girl, a newly married, that this drug can cause infertility. She will run away. So that is another problem. Need for second and third generation tyrosine kinase inhibitors following kinase domain mutation or intolerance to the drug. If you cast your mind back to table 1, look at the cost of those drugs, especially the second line drugs. Until very recently, the second line drugs are not very easy to come by. But we thank the donors. It is not easier to access these drugs free for our patients. Failure to meet the expected treatment milestones by a majority of patients because of financial inadequacies. I will explain that with time. High cost of treatment monitoring for detection and management of suboptimal response. In particular, molecular monitoring, which will cost 41,500 for diagnosis and 26,500 every 3 to 6 months. For people who are working and you are getting regular salary, it may not be too expensive. But for a majority of Nigerians, it's a big money. Desire for drug holiday. A client constantly will say, I have had enough of this drug. Let me rest. Survival of CML patients. So let's look at therapy adherence and the consequences of non-adherence. The current grade 3 to 4 cytopenia, that is low blood count, to normal daily dose of imatinib, requiring repeated dose suspension, often leads to development of BCR ABL1 independent resistance and unrelated kinase domain mutations. Such problems may follow pharmacokinetic variability, non-adherence to drug, suboptimal daily dosing of imatinib, drug-drug interaction with imatinib, and clonal evolution of cytogenetic abnormalities. The World Health Organization defines adherence as the extent to which a person's behavior of taking medication corresponds with agreed recommendation from a healthcare provider. And in imatinib therapy, over 95% adherence is desired to prevent treatment failure and development of resistance. Yet, in our own country, adherence is only 47%. A major cause of poor adherence in our patients is poverty related. That is, in particular, inability to fund transportation to Ife for drug refill, because we cannot give you 1 year's supply of the drug. But we soon discovered that this drug is now being used for some other diseases. Some patients can afford to die. They will sell the drug to some other people. So that is why we monitor it. So patients domiciled over 200 kilometers away have a significant non-adherence to therapy, as shown in figures 4A and 4B. However, the donor has kindly agreed to start another center at the National Hospital, Abuja. We thank them for this. So look at this figure. You can see the map of Nigeria. The very large landmass. People come from as far as Sokoto in the northwest, Maiduguri in the northeast, most of south-south. Of course, the majority will come from southwest because of proximity. And if you look at this figure 4B, so that explains it all. A large majority of our patients came from southwest. The World Trunk Northeast had the lowest attendance, just cost of transportation. Because to travel from Maiduguri to this place is a lot of money, big money. Pharmacokinetics studies and imatinib intolerance and resistance. In collaboration with the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, the pioneering pharmacokinetics study was conducted on imatinib in indigenous African population, which confirmed a very reliable and reproducible plasma concentration of the drug in the presence of common antimalarials, including amodiaquine, chloroquine, proguanil, quinine, artesunate, artemether, and lumefantrine, with little or no interference with any of the antimalarial drug tested. The reason why antimalarial drug was chosen in the first instance is because that is the commonest disease in our population. So if this drug interferes adversely with it, then we are done for. The pharmacokinetic studies also identify two groups of patients in respect of tissue disposal of the drug. We have the slow metabolizers, which characterized by long severe exposure of tissues to the drug, leading to induction of cellular toxicity, recurrent cytopenias, and drug intolerance. Then we have the fast metabolizers, characterized by rapid plasma drug clearance, shorter exposure of leukemic cells to imatinib, suboptimal disease response, disease progression, and high risk of resistance. The unwholesome pharmacokinetic related imatinib disposal in some of the patients is the basis for the failure of a number of CLM patients on standard imatinib dose to achieve the desired treatment outcome. Pharmacokinetic related drug resistance or intolerance is prevented in our community by the use of individualized therapeutic drug monitoring. Drug monitoring guided dose for optimization of imatinib therapy for patients' benefits. The kinase domain mutations and resistance. What are the causes of these mutations? That is deviation from the normal gene structure. The first is point mutations of the target genes in the BCR-ABL kinase domain. Amplification of the BCR-ABL gene at the genomic and transcript levels. Overexpression of SRC-related kinases and emergence of new chromosomal aberrations. Along the way, we studied 33 of the CML patients who became resistant or intolerant to Brevel between December 2001 and January 2020. These patients were enrolled into the second generation tyrosine kinase inhibitors after a median follow-up period of 47 months. There are 17 males and 16 females. 3 are one presented in chronic phase, accelerated phase, and lymphoblastic phase respectively. The majority of the patients, that is 81.8%, carried the standard race E13A2, E14A2, or both E13A2 and E14A2 transcripts. Only 42.4% of the patients achieved complete hematologic remission within 3 months into imatinib. The indications for switching, that is from imatinib to second-line drug, include intolerance, progressive disease, and hepatotoxicity. Kinase domain mutations were evaluated for identification of the mutant genes and choice of most suitable second-line tyrosine kinase inhibitors. Mutations were confirmed in 67.7% of the patients, including E255A in 21.2% and M244B in 12.1%. However, mutation status was not available for 33.3% of the patients. It was negative in 7, but it was not tested in another 4, as shown in table 2. Mutations were not confirmed in some cases, but such patients have been shown to also benefit from second-line drugs. So this table shows the frequencies of the various mutants in our patients. The second generation tyrosine kinase inhibitor use included dasatinib in 60.6% of the patients, nilotinib or Tasigna in 20.6%, and bosutinib in another 18.2%, as shown in table 3. The mean survival time for patients on second-generation tyrosine kinase inhibitors was 55.3 months. It was better in males than in the females, but it was not statistically significant. Poor adherence to therapy and the cost of monitoring tests are limitations to achieving the desired goals of tyrosine kinase therapy for CML in low and middle income countries. This is because what is freely available are the drugs. And the hospital has been very kind. Hospital will never charge anybody for any free drug. But you must pay for the cost of investigation because it is not free. And patients either genuinely or pretentiously will give the impression that there is no money. You are accessing a drug costing you over 500,000 naira every month, yet you could not investigate yourself. That was why it was not easy to make early detection of those that are not doing very well, and the basis for they are not doing well. Facilities for bone marrow, okay. Facilities for bone marrow transplantation are very limited in the country. The only center in Benin, Edo State, currently serves a population of over 200 million. And this center is also serving the whole of West African sub-region, because it's the only one available in the whole of West Africa. So, we have to be referring patients for treatment, for the patients that need their bone marrow transplantation for treatment outside the country. Two of such, we had a 36-year-old lady who presented with Philadelphia chromosome CML in 2012, developed F359V mutation in 2015, became resistant to Durosinmi. She underwent allogeneic transplantation in December 2016, and it was very successful. So we can say she is now cured of her disease. Another person is a young adult male who was confirmed to have PA positive CML in 2011, had a very impressive response to liver, but he developed a second malignancy, for which he underwent a very, very successful autologous stem cell transplantation that took care of the two cancers. He is also doing very well now. But the problem is, in a very large country like this, that actually sending cases like this outside. It's a shame. I think we are not happy. We hope they plan to start stem cell transplantation in Lagos. Ibadan is also making efforts. Ife is also making efforts. We come to success very soon. Pregnancy and therapy adherence to imatinib. The teratogenicity of imatinib in pregnancies has been confirmed in lower animals and in human fetuses exposed to the drug during the first trimester of pregnancy. Imatinib-related congenital abnormalities include premature closure of viscous sutures, hypoplastic lungs, exophalus, duplex left kidney, absent right kidney, right renal agenesis, hemivertebrae, and scoliosis. 17 of our young women between ages 16 and 36 at the initiation of direct therapy got pregnant during treatment. All were on imatinib at the standard dose of 100 milligrams for chronic kidney disease, except a lady who has been on therapy since 2012 but transited to dasatinib following development of mutation 7 years later in 2019. All of the women stayed off tyrosine kinase inhibitors through the first trimesters of their pregnancy, except 2 patients who were never aware they were pregnant until after the first trimesters. There was a total of 20 children, 8 males and 12 females, including a set of twins. The oldest being a 16-year boy. None of the children had birth defects. 3 of the women had successful pregnancies twice. However, 7 of the women had previous children before the diagnosis of CML. One of the patients lost 3 pregnancies on imatinib, confirming that imatinib can also induce abortions in some patients. There was a maternal death. This involved a newly married lady, educated, unfortunately developed CML within a year of the marriage. And you know the operation in-laws put on newly married that are not expecting a baby within a short time. As soon as this lady got pregnant, she started on baby. She must have gone through every information about the job. She just ran away from the hospital. She did not come forward. She did not answer our call until she delivered. Unfortunately, she died a month later, most likely from a disease. Her intention, her only wish in life is, let me have a child. Oluwatimi ni she named a child Oluwatimi, something like that. May God bless our women. Amen. Some of the patients, including males, the serious of having children are often not fully adherent to therapy. They will be skipping their drugs. Alternates to imatinib in many pregnancies include interferon alpha, which is not teratogenic, but is also expensive. Hydroxyurea can be used from the 2nd trimester onward, while decapiracid, that is withdrawal of the blood and expulsion of the leukemia cells, can be used all through pregnancy. We had another problem during COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 associated inter and intercity lockdown further worsened the already abysmally low adherence to tyrosine kinase inhibitors among the patients, especially during the total lockdown period of 38 March to 27 July 2020. Courier services had to be engaged for doorstep delivery of the drugs. The program is still on. It is not free, but the patient has to pay for the cost of the courier. But patients must be physically present at IFE at least twice in a year. This is to ensure that we are not sending drugs to boast. Survivor estimates. Because we have said that one plus for this drug is the prolonged survival associated with it. The median overall survival estimated by Kaplan-Meier technique was 179 plus or minus 16.7 months. This was obtained, and using the lockdown, survival was better in males than in the females. At 201 plus or minus 55.8 months, but it was not statistically significant. The 179 months of 15 years overall survival obtained for CML patients in Nigeria on imatinib compared to only 32 to 43 months survival reported for patients treated with chemotherapy in Africa, Europe, and North America in the past, confirm the potential curability of the cancer by imatinib. In developed countries, normal survival is now the norm for CML on imatinib and other tyrosine kinase inhibitors. That was why we presented that slide where we have a patient who has been surviving for the past 25 years. This is the survival curve. You can see the slow dip. So, it's a very good evidence that the patients are doing well. This is comparative survival. Males in red, female in blue. All in all, they are doing very well. Conclusion. Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, in spite of the challenges, imatinib as the frontline therapy for CML in Nigeria has been established. The drug and the second-line medications are available at no cost to all the qualified beneficiaries. The cost of monitoring and limitations. Recognition of the drugs as donated anti-cancer medications by the government has greatly facilitated customs and NAFDA clearance from the courts. Initially, when we started, when we had just about 50 patients, it was saved by the customs. And we were asked to come and pay 100 million naira. That is based on the custom evaluation of the cost. Fortunately, one of the beneficiaries was working in the presidency. The man just ran to Chief Obasanjo. That was the language he said he used. And he said, "Oh, please don't write this letter through the Ministry of Finance. Write it through Ministry of Health." Rambo was the minister then. He will solve the rest. And by the grace of God, in 2 weeks, we got the approval to import the drug. Then, one other patient developed resistance. He needed to use Myelogenous. Again, we ran into problems. Now that our custom insisted, we must get clearance. Custom clearance. There was the president. Fortunately, one of the patients happened to be the classmate to Yara's lawyer. So the lawyer just went to him. Yara just said, if somebody is giving us this drug because I know one of my governors is on this medication. If somebody is giving us this drug free, then we have no choice but to approve it. So we got that approval again within a short time. So we thank those two presidents. But currently, customs and NAFDAC are no longer giving us headache because they realize nobody is selling the drug. Poor compliance to therapy is another limitation to achievement of normal life expectancy as for the general population, which is now the norm in the high-income populations. However, the overall survival of 15 years in CML patients remains very impressive compared to the previous experience of less than 15 months reported globally. Imatinib has reduced the incurable chronic myelocytic leukemia to an ordinary chronic non-communicable disease like hypertension and diabetes that are now compatible with normal survival. Once the patient adheres to therapy as advised by the caregivers. What we must say in effect is that today, even in our country, nobody dies of hypertension again unless you are not following advice or you are not able to buy the drug. And that is why we must all make noise and emphasize that this national health insurance must be effective. You know why? If a drug costs you 1,000 naira, you just pay 100 naira. It's easier to pay 100 naira from your pocket than 1,000. That is why we must find that our health insurance works. Many states are now using it. Dedication and appreciation. Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, this lecture is dedicated to my 3 siblings that motivated my interest in blood diseases in the first instance. Mr. Sulaiman Adetayo Eberongbe, 1964 to 1991. Hafsat Iberongbe Durosinmi, 1959 to 1991. Sarat Ololade Lamoni, 1979 to 2015. May Allah admit them to Adonai Firdaus. And may He give us victory over sickle cell disease. Amen. Appreciation. I sincerely thank the Vice Chancellor and the Chief Medical Director who has an engagement at Malaysia currently because a geriatric was donated by some group is being commissioned today. We have to be here for honoring me with their presence. I appreciate the members of my department, both in the university and in the hospital, led by Professor Acknowledgments, for organizing this program. But they initiated it and they followed it to the logical conclusion. I thank the College of Health Sciences under Professor B.A. Kolawole, in particular the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, led by Professor S. Salabo. I thank the entire members of the Nigerian Society for Haematology and Blood Transfusion, all members of the Mass Care Foundation, Nigeria. Those are the people who are on this medication. And the Global Mass Foundation that has been sponsoring the drug. Dr. Patrick Akinyemi of the African Research Group for Oncology, assisted his particular work. We thank our esteemed royal father, His Royal Highness, His Royal Majesty, Oba Dr. Myelogenous Adeshola Lawal, Lamini Savon, the Timi of Edenland, and esteemed His Royal Highness, Oba Abdul Aziz Olalekan Babalola, Ilekuro of Ekuro, Ede, and His Royal Highness, Oba Nurini Aziz Oyeleko, Olu of Owode, Ede. May the Almighty continue to honor you and your kingdoms. Amen. We appreciate the presence of our spiritual leaders here present, the Chief Imam of Ife-Land, Alhaji Abdul Samir Abdulhamid. We thank the Chief Imam of Obafemi Awolowo University, Dr. Abubakar Sanusi, and the Chief Imam of the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Ibrahim Bello. We are also grateful to Reverend Father Ajayi of the Catholic Chapel and Reverend Babalola of the Oswald Chapel, OAU Ile-Ife. Now we have my late father, Baba Mr. Durosinmi, may his soul rest in peace. My mom, Amgalat Adenika Durosinmi, ní ẹgbẹ̀rún ọgbẹ́ 1932 to 2014, and her two brothers who are my benefactors. Alhaji Yadi Adebori ẹgbẹ̀rún ọgbẹ́ 1929 to 2014, and Baba Shitu Adetunji ẹgbẹ̀rún ọgbẹ́ 1926 to 1991. May their souls rest in peace. Wholehearted appreciation to my colleagues led by Professor Acknowledgments for initiating this great event. May God reward them all. Amen. Appreciation to Mr. Esco Elujoba, Deputy Director, Haematology Laboratory and staff. May God continue to bless them. I thank the staff of the Forensic and Molecular Diagnostic Laboratory for contributing to the success of this program. I must thank all my family members, nuclear and extended, from Abeokuta, Ibadan, Lagos, and Ogbomoso for their support. My colleagues and friends from other institutions across the country, and all invited guests are present. My soulmate, Latifa Moyosore, the chemistry teacher, one-time Dean of Students Affairs of this university, one-time National Admiral of the Federation of Muslim Women's Association in Nigeria, a role model, the master planner, and a teacher, and the very generous. May she never be humiliated. The nuclear family in relatives, the Quran tells us, to Allah belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He creates whatever he will. He grants daughters to whomever he wills. He grants sons to whomever he wills. Or he combines them together. That is males and females. And he renders whoever he wills sterile. He is knowledgeable and capable. Quran chapter 42, verses 49 to 50. Alhamdulillah, this is the family currently. Then, Quran reminds us again in chapter 55, verse 18, which of the favors of your Lord will you give? I thank you all for honoring our invitation. May the Almighty honor you blessings. Let us jointly wish our College of Health Sciences a very happy golden anniversary. May it remain forever on top. Amen. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much.
A warm round of applause for everyone else. We may be seated. Very soon the Vice Chancellor will be speaking to us over shortly.
Of this great university, Professor Ile-Ife, as he joins us now virtually from Abuja. Please let us give him a round of applause. Vice Chancellor, sir, you are on.
Thank you very much, Professor Durosinmi, Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration. How I wish that I would be physically present at this very official and great occasion. So, but I had a talent here in the sense that we actually have some visitors from Egypt. They are present and because of this event, they will rather want us to have a meeting in Abuja, rather want to have a meeting. And what we have come to do really is to finalize the center for the African continental area, which will be for the whole of Africa. So what that means is that everybody who wants to have anything in terms of the African continental area, they have to go back to it. So it's something that we really would not do, and already at least have been in the corner for quite some time. So that's why unfortunately we have to say that they are instead of moving to Ife, but we thank God that everything is now in order. So we want to thank God for the life of Professor Durosinmi, who is giving the lecture today. The title is very hard. Evolution of movement of chronic myelogenous leukemia in Nigeria. There's no other person. I remember calling my system. And I want to thank you with my own personal experience of the person that Professor Durosinmi stands for. And each and every one of us that are close to it notice that any time like this time, whether it's on the university side or the hospital side, Professor Durosinmi's department will continue to function. And the reason is because there are certain drugs and certain treatments that when you take it's like you are sentencing the patient to death. And Professor Durosinmi, in a very humane and compassionate started that particular process in the department. And even when by the time, such treatment will necessarily continue. We can take it for granted, but it's not regular in other Nigerian hospitals, in other Nigerian. So for me, that is one thing that still says how to do this person. That stand the ground and establish that kind of thing in that regard. The other thing also is that I have the pleasure of working with about 20 years ago now, on Ife his commitment made it possible to establish the first laboratory in any local government area in the So, in fact, the way he went about in protein is not what the state laboratory, what happened local, how the state accepted. So, and the total community and the association to the market, I think remember that he had you are also that I want us to know Professor Durosinmi is that it's somebody who can apply anything, to ensure that others benefit. So when you are taking the type of man, people will find it, but I'm trying to work that this is not synonymous with you are giving that particular. He is 70 years old and giving this lecture and will continue to give lectures even after it comes. Not the kind of lectures that and we go away from the academic. No, not that. So we said take him to the family for what he has been able to do and they are treated so well. They are highly of to the man we are indeed very. Let me also say something. We are going to work together on the establishment of a private university, the whole medical and health science university, which is now and the competition is not there, everything is sacrificed. Actually, you make it to that. You are also a pioneer of that same university. I mean, it's not because of any peculiarity or something, but because he's committed and because he feels that he's going to do something. So I also believe we all work together to ensure that thing will be and for God to believe that yes, they are achieving his purpose and I believe in that. Without his support, will not happen. So we thank God, because God has put him to do knowing and outside way. And I want to honestly encourage Professor Prof to continue to do what he has doing. There might be some challenges here, and people don't believe that we should go against some effort of having. So, but he does the reason and the purpose, and God Almighty has indicated in all his ways. So, I want to pray for them to thank each and every one of us that are here today for finding time to be at this location. And also those that are online, we thank you very much for joining online. Thank God, one of the most aspects of 19 is the fact that from everywhere following the lectures and everything. So it's possible now that you do that, and we thank God for that, and we thank God who have taken that opportunity to do it. I will always continue to cherish your everything that is left behind. And I'm highly happy that the Deputy Vice Chancellor administration is there to stand in for management participation. Whatever you continue to require, even after you come, please feel free to inform us. You have done so well in fact, and you have completed the better part of your life. And minimum that you can do is continue to recognize you and to continue to recognize your contribution. So we thank you very much and wish you very much to humanity and long life in good health. May you continue go from friend to friend and to go from one particular level to higher heights. So God is very able to do. He has kept God in the 70 years. He will keep you for many more years to come. Another 70 years. So even more than that, thank you very much and congratulations to both of us. Really, I had the privilege of working together from me. Thank you.
Another round of applause for the Vice Chancellor of the University Ile-Ife. At this junction, I want to just appreciate every one of us for being a very wonderful audience and for being very patient with us up to this moment. Immediately after this aspect of the program is over, we'll be going for a reception. We want to invite each and every one of us to be there on time. And even at that venue, we'll be recognizing all the dignitaries that are here present, because we know we have so many people that we want to recognize the fact that they're here with us today to celebrate. Please, everybody, let's put our hands together for ourselves again for being so wonderful. The last aspect of the event will be the recession. And as we all rise up to our feet, we'll then honor the celebrant of this day as he goes through the recession. He will be followed closely by the chairman committee of this, Professor Durosinmi, who will be followed by the Provost, College of Health Sciences, and they will be followed by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Daramula, as we all rise up to our feet. Let's give them this honor. Thank you very much.